What's up, y'all? It is Tasha. We are back with another review of Married at First Sight, season 13, episode 11, y'all. I wasn't as into this episode this week, maybe because last week was so much. I was like, ooh, we are in the groove now and we just gonna keep going, that I was like, okay, we watched it. Let's just say that we watched it, but I wasn't as excited as I was watching this episode this week as I was last week. But let's get into the review, y'all. So we open up with day 28 of marriage. We see Jose and Rachel. They're meeting. It is awkward as hell because y'all know last time they had that whole huge blow up with, her calling him another man's name, him locking her out, blah, 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 blah. So she says she doesn't even know how to talk to him, and he's just sitting here with this smug look on his face. She is still looking for an apology from him, and he basically continues with this whole scenario of, I didn't lock her out on purpose. I didn't do that intentionally. And it's like, get out of here, Jose. Nobody deadbolts the door on accident. So can we please just stop with this narrative and say that you locked the door because you was pissed at her? Point blank in the period. Rachel basically says all of his sorries are followed by a but, and he continues to say that, I'm not sure what you want from me. I don't know what to do of apologize. And I'm like, dude, she just said what she wanted from you. She's not making it confusing for you. Give her a sincere apology, and it seems that she will get over this. It's that simple. I don't know, Jose. But she proceeds to tell him, it just wasn't that one incident of him, cursing at her, locking her out. But of course, the next day we saw him completely act like he did not do anything wrong, act like things were, just normal as they had been all the previous weeks. So she's like, it's just kind of a combination of all of that. But he basically is like, I keep saying, that I apologize, and I keep showing you that I care. I even sent you a text message of, this probably won't mean nothing, but blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Jose, you are just trying to protect your image and trying to look good in this instance of you sending that message. That message that you sent was so that you can do what you're doing now, to say you sent a message saying that you care. It was not genuine at all. We all know the game that you are playing here, Jose. Quit acting like we stupid here, okay? But he basically wants her to get over the fact that she's upset because he no longer is upset, and he feels like he's done enough. And if he's over it, she should be over it as well. He don't want her to keep talking about it. I'm like, she's a real person. She's not just a robot or machine that's just going to get over things the minute you say, all right, it's over now and we're supposed to be happy again. That's not how it works. But Rachel is pretty firm in saying, he hasn't given a firm apology, a genuine apology, shall I say. And he basically just wants her to get over it, and there's nothing he can do about it. He won't admit fault. Rachel, honey, it won't be the first time, and it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time he behaves this way. He can give you everything that he wants, but trust and believe this behavior will exhibit itself again with Jose. So he basically says he doesn't like to address situations that make him upset right away. He just kind of needs the time to cool down, and then he'll come and talk about it. Jose, again, this is a marriage. Things do not go just the way that you want them to go. So you cannot tell your wife how you want things to go. You have to verbalize to your wife how you deal with things. She verbalize how she deals with things. And you guys have to come to a compromise of how you want to handle things as a couple. It's just not you dictating to her what you want and her following suit with what you want to make you happy. That's not how this goes, Jose. But he basically apologizes to her satisfaction. I didn't hear or see it, but that ain't my business. And they just start laughing and smiling, and obviously things are happy again with them. Whatever, Rachel and Jose. We then see Brett and Ryan. They're cooking breakfast again. And I'm like, I swear, every time we see the two of them, they are cooking breakfast, lunch, dinner. They are cooking something. They love food, or this is the only time that they actually come together and are enjoying each other's company, is when food is involved. I don't know. But Ryan has set up a scavenger hunt for Brent in an effort to put in more effort, because as he says, over the past 4 weeks, really nothing has changed. And we all agree. She figures out all the answers to a scavenger hunt and ends up with being a gift card to Lululemon, so she can get some cute workout clothes, which was very cute. I would definitely appreciate something like that because I love cute workout clothes. So kudos, Ryan, for actually making an effort here this time. But we actually see him smile more in this scene than I believe we've ever seen him smile this entire series thus far. So I'm like, I guess y'all are on the right track. I don't know. We then see Mila and Gil. They got on a date with salsa lessons. And of course, she starts complaining already. You know, she tired, is late. And I'm like, Mila, girl, I be wanting to like you. And I be like, ooh, we're making progress. And then the minute I do, you do something to make it all backpedal. But I digress. We then see Michaela and Zach actually end up meeting them there for a little bit of a double date. And this is 100% Gil's element. He is like, I am ready to show you my moves and I got this salsa down pat. Mira is actually trying, and that's nice to see. We see Michaela, she's trying a bit, and then she just ends up quitting in the middle of the lesson. And I'm like, girl, what is going on? Is this too hard for you? You just don't like dancing? What is happening here? Because I didn't see anything that would have triggered her to just shut down and stop in the middle of the lesson. Just have some fun, because we know Zach ain't gonna be able to let this go. And this is gonna be one more thing on his little checklist of things that you have done to make him upset. And I was rather disappointed in this scene of her not continuing through with the lesson. And as they kind of get through with the lesson, they sit down and talk. And of course, y'all know Gil is going to always be the mediator, and he's going to come with the questions anytime it's any kind of group setting. Gil is going to come with the questions. But he's like, you know, do you always just not want to try new things? And Michaela is like, I tried. I just didn't want to do it. And Gil is like, so you didn't want to try with your husband? And again, she's like, I tried. I just didn't want to do it. And I'm like, Michaela, girl, I'm trying to rock with you here, but I don't, in my opinion, you didn't really try. You could have tried more. Who cares if you looked silly? Who cares if you did not get the dance moves? It's not about perfecting the lesson that you are learning, but that you are trying and spending time with your husband and doing something different, especially because y'all are all shaky right now. This would have been a good way to really break the ice. On the other hand, because we don't know terribly a lot about Michaela, I don't know if just her going and attempting what she did was trying, like if that was already pushing more than she would have normally pushed herself. So I just don't know. But in my opinion, she could have tried a little bit more in this setting, just to kind of, again, break the tension that they've been having so much between the two of them. But she said she could have tried harder, but she just didn't want to. So point blank in the period. Gil asks if the dancing is kind of comparable to how their marriages are going right now. Michaela says things are a little stale and she thinks that they're moving backwards. And of course, Zach is shocked and he's like, oh, I thought things were moving forward. And basically it boils down to, she feels like all the words that she's kind of heard from Zach over the past several days of, you know, he's hopeful, but yet he's not sure if he sees a future with them. It's made her feel some kind of way. And she wants somebody that sees a future with her, that wants to spend time with her, wants to be with her. She wants to feel wanted. And right now, basically the comments that Zach have made just really don't have her feeling that way. And Zach says that just because he doesn't see a future with her right now does not mean that he won't see a future. And I'm like, okay, Zach, I hear what you're saying, but that type of messaging can be confusing to you guys because you're still so early on in this relationship of, just because I don't see a future right now, I could see one. So what is she supposed to do with that information? Is she supposed to continue to put in 110%? Are you going to continue to put in 110%? Like, where are we going? So I can understand her being a little bit confused, because I was a little bit confused about, where this is going. But of course, Gil continues to play mediator as if he's been married for 10 years to Mira and he knows everything what to do, but he does give them some sound advice. And, I just hope they can get through it, but I don't know. We then see Brent. She's on the phone with her friend because her little doggy Baxter is sick, and she finds out that he's in severe kidney failure. And the poor doggy has a 50-50 chance, and he's at the hospital. Jose and Rachel, they're home, and they kind of talk about the previous interaction that they had as far as him blowing up. Jose can finally admit that his actions kind of contributed to all this, because he pretty much blew up and went all the way to the left with her calling him Johnny in the previous episode. He can admit down that he's not a good communicator. He felt like before he got married, he's a pretty good communicator, but now he's seeing that that's not the case. So he brings up these little index cards that he's made for himself and things that he will not do. I won't lock the door. I won't be controlling. I'll check on you during the day. I'll control my anger and temper. And I'm like, Jose, get out my face with these flashcards, because I'm not sure what all of this is supposed to mean. Is this supposed to be confirmation for her that you would do better? Is this supposed to be reminders for you to actually do better, so you'll know how to act until you look at the flashcard and read it? I don't know what these notes are supposed to mean. But okay, he says that it shows that, you know, he's in it to win it. And it just wasn't, you know, a little BS apology that he gave her. And I'm like, if you say so, little man, we will see how things change going forward. So they're basically going to move forward. Rachel says, you know, I'll see how his actions play out. And, you know, we've done great these past several weeks. It's just been, you know, 3 bad days. And Jose is like, I'll just do whatever for this marriage. And I'm like, you are just saying that because you don't want this to fail. You aren't used to failure. You don't like failure. And if you don't succeed in this marriage, it will be looked at as a failure. And in my opinion, Jose cares more about the failure than he does of actually listening and caring for Rachel in the way that she should be. Just my opinion. We'll continue to see how this plays out the rest of the season. It is now day 30 of marriage, so it is now time for 1-month anniversaries, and we are officially halfway through the 8-week experiment. We see Johnny and Bao. They actually end up going skydiving, which I think is so cool. I'm terrified to do it. I would love to do it, but I'm scared to do it, if that makes sense. But Johnny says the risks outweigh the benefits for him. He is just doing this because it is on Bao's bucket list, and he's being the supportive husband and taking one from the team. And I'm like, great job, Johnny, just doing it. But it ends up looking like he's having a little bit more fun doing this than Bao is. So I actually like seeing them have a good time. But they get done, hug and kiss each other, and said it was an amazing time. We then see Mira and Gil. They go to a winery for their 1-month anniversary, and he blindfolds her. And it's so cute that he actually goes the extra step, because if y'all remember the last time he tried to blindfold her, she was like, because of these lashes, we ain't doing it. So this time he basically made some glasses, blindfold glasses that he could just, you know, slip on her, protect the lashes, but her still be blindfold. And I'm like, this was super cute, Gil. You actually listen. He has just been the best husband this season as far as like listening to his wife and actually trying to do things that make her happy. Although she hasn't been the most easygoing wife of the season, he has not let that hinder him actually putting forth the effort. But he surprises her with a cute little picnic at the winery, and she thinks it's super adorable and she loves it. He even has macaroons for her, but she says, you know, this is something that she mentioned to him very early on that she thought would be nice and wanted to do, and he actually remembered and then followed through. So kudos, Gil, on doing that. Gil asks, you know, where they sit currently, and she says, you know, we're in a good place besides maybe you're cleaning and snoring. And he says that, you know, you take drama to another level, and sometimes you can be a little bit closed-minded with things that I want to do. And he says, you know, though I don't have children, I kind of imagine this is what, you know, raising a child is like. And she's like, so I'm like a child, I'm your wife. And I'm like, Mira, stop playing, because, you know, we've seen lots of childlike behavior from you. So this is very on par of what you've shown us. So cut it out. It may sting, but it's the truth. But they both agree that they have not felt forced. It's felt comfortable. And I can definitely see in this moment, Mira is definitely starting to fall for Gil. So although her actions may show sometimes that she is really giving him a hard time, she is starting to fall for him. And I think they might be the only hope we have of a couple making it this season. Although it looked real bleak in the beginning, now it's looking a little more promising with them than any other couple. So Bonnie and Bao and Johnny put together. Bao and Johnny then go grab some food and check on each other, you know, since they're at the halfway mark and after they do their skydiving. Johnny says he's 100% committed to her. He basically knows why they were matched, but he just wants a little bit more spontaneity in the marriage. He says that pretty much your entire day is planned as far as, you know, dinner, work, whatever else you have to get done. And he wants their marriage to basically have a little bit more fun and just kind of go with the flow. Johnny says when it comes to sex for them, there's really no inclination that sex is going to happen. It's just boom, sex is happening. And I'm like, Johnny, where's the problem in that? For most men, that would not be an issue as long as the do is happening. They don't care how it's happening. But it seems like here, Johnny is more of the female of what women mostly want, of really to be emotionally and mentally stimulated throughout the day and knowing that you doing all the right things today is going down tonight. That's what Johnny wants. He wants that. He wants the foreplay. And then while he's kind of explaining that, Bao is like, well, I want you to touch me more. And again, I'm a little confused because I did not see where the turning point happened with Bao saying physical touch is the last on her list, and she's just not into that, to her wanting to be touched so much. Maybe that conversation has happened and it just wasn't something that we have seen, but I was just a little bit confused of, so now you want all the touching? I don't know, but okay. But Johnny he's just about as hard to please sometimes as Mira is, and it can get a little bit annoying. Bao shares that there are moments when she wants him to come in for a hug and he doesn't. And again, I think that has a little bit to do with the whole physical touch thing. You are pretty adamant about not being a fan of physical touch in the very beginning. So unless she's expressed that to Johnny, he may still be a little bit like, I don't know. I'm unsure how she feels about me coming in for a hug or whatever. But Johnny asks what he needs to work on, and she says more cuddles. And Johnny has excuses as to, well, we go to bed at different times. We both are hot-natured people, so within 3 minutes we start sweating. And I'm like, Johnny, stop it, because I hate when people ask, what is something that I can do better? And you tell them, and then they come up with excuses as to why they can't do what you're telling them. If you really don't want to change it, don't do anything different, don't ask me, okay? Point blank, in the period. Michaela and Zach, they then go on a date for their anniversary, and she's planned a cute little studio date night. I mean, it is super cute. They go, and it's like a little table and chairs. It has a piano there, and we know Zach is definitely into music. So she says after they had the salsa date, which is a little bit sketchy, they had a good conversation afterwards, and they seem to smooth things over. But definitely on this date, Zach is in his element. He is loving everything that Michaela has done, and Michaela is like, as long as Zach happy, I'm happy, we happy, the relationship is good. And I'm like, I appreciate you for putting the effort together, Michaela, but each of you are still responsible for your own individual happiness. So I don't want her to feel like she's responsible for making him happy, because that's nobody's responsibility but yourself. Okay? All right. But it was super cute, their date. Zach asks what she's learned, and she says to not get into her own way, and he agrees, like, could be some self-sabotage going on. And he says that he's learned to think more about other people's opinions and really think about what he thought marriage should be. Because of course, we know he's had this whole ideal of what he thinks marriage should look like and what his wife should do. So he's kind of reevaluating that and being a little bit more realistic with it, I hope. They talk about negatives, and Michaela says she doesn't think they really have any negatives. They just have experiences. And I appreciate her for putting a spin on that, because that could have went downhill and down a rabbit hole real fast. He jokes at her blasting music in the middle of the day like she's at a day party. And I'm like, Michaela, you are me. I am you. We here, okay? But they laugh it off. And it is definitely refreshing to see them in a better place this episode. We then see Brent, and she actually ends up telling us she had to put little Baxter down. I was like, oh, it's so sad. That is my fear, that I'm going to have to put my dog down, or of course, just walking in and he's no longer moving and having to deal with that. So I felt for her in this moment. I hate that she had to deal with it alone, because she said Ryan had already left to go to the gym. But to celebrate their anniversary, they're going to a movie theater, and Ryan says he has a little surprise for her. He does show concern for Baxter, and he says he does want to protect and comfort her at this time, because he's dealt with the passing of a pet before. And he's like, to be honest, I don't know if I would have been able to come through and still pull through on this date. So he appreciated her for still, following through with what they had planned. But he basically has their wedding video planned, and he has it played while they are at theater all alone, just the two of them. And they're able to kind of laugh at how nervous the two of them were. But Ryan says watching it is tough because of how in the moment and hopeful he was in the very beginning. And he says now they're a month in, and he says his feelings now are less than they were a month ago. And I was like, dang, Ryan, you didn't even know her. And now that you've known her, what you feel is even less. Yeah. But I am starting to dislike him even more, because I feel like what he shows us and tells us in confessionals is completely different than what he actually shows her. I feel like when he's talking to her, he gives her more hope than he leads us on. When he's talking to us in confessionals, it's just one-on-one. And I really don't like that, because I feel like, with him saying that because she does like him, it gives her this hope. But I feel like in the back of his mind, he's like, no, I'm trying. I've done all I can do. And even with trying, I'm still pretty much checked out and not feeling her like that. So I want him to just stop playing her and just say what it is. And if it ain't here with the work that y'all have done. It's gonna be hard getting it to be there. So just call it quits. We also go back to Mila and Gil, and she's now planning a cute little romantic date night for them. So it's later on from when they've done the winery earlier that day. He comes in and she has candles everywhere, rose petals and chocolate covered strawberries. And I'm like, kudos, Mila, for actually putting in some effort here. Okay, show your man that you like him. He then gives her some cute matching t-shirts, and they see a gift from the experts. That's their vows in a frame. And it's so cute because her shirt says, I am everything. And his shirt says, I have everything I need. Get it? Super cute. And she's like, oh, can we put these on now? So I'm like, Mila, girl, I see how you feeling your man. It's cute. And I think if Mila can just continue to make space for Gil, that the two of them could completely work. So just continue to make space and put her guard, down a little bit more to let him in, because he seems genuinely like a good guy. They also get a photo album of their wedding pics, so they're able to see those for the first time, and they actually said they came out really well. And then an hour later, we see that he's given her an additional gift of a pooper scooper that she wanted. And I'm saying, Mila, I see the progress. You're actually even coming around to the doggone dog. Good job. We go back to Zach and Michaela. They have checked into a hotel for a little staycation, since we know their honeymoon was pretty much ruined with Zach being diagnosed with COVID. He has the room all decked out with rose petals and little hearts on the bed that spell out Z and a heart and M for Zach and Michaela. He then tosses her on the bed as he did on their wedding night, which is, again, really cute. They make a toast, and he actually thanks her because he says without the work that she done, he does not think that would be where they are. And I think this is huge, to acknowledge that she has done some work and she has been trying to hold them together. And I think this is exactly what Michaela needs to hear from him. He then gives her a bracelet with their wedding date on it. And she says in her confessional, she says she thinks she loves him. It's a bit uncomfortable, but she thinks she loves him. They get comfortable in their robes and going in bed, and we all know what's about to go down because they like to get it in, and they in a good place, so they gonna get it in. But again, I'm happy to see them in a good place, because it's just been so rocky that to see them here, I'm smiling ear to ear. We see them a couple hours later, and she says that they got hungry, so they went to some restaurant that was open till 4 a.m. And I'm like, girl, I know what worked up an appetite. Okay, get it in, all right? Jose then has a surprise plan for Rachel for their anniversary. He has her blindfolded, and he's taking her on a baseball field where he has little tables and chairs set up for their date, since they are both baseball fans. They throw the ball around, and we see Jose with the flick of the wrist as he tosses the ball to Rachel every time. I don't know what that's about, but I'm just going to leave that where it is. And all of a sudden, Rachel's in love with him again. I am just like, y'all are two confusing people. Your emotions are all over the place. And I want y'all to just recognize that this is not love that y'all are feeling. Love does not fall in and out this easily. Y'all just have strong like for each other. Really strong like, okay? But she says she's happy where they are, but still thinks it's topics that they need to discuss. Jose talks about the joint account issue and basically says he's okay with them having separate accounts. And Rachel's like, that's what I said from the beginning. I'm like, exactly. And that is my issue with Jose. He's not on board with something until he thinks it's kind of his idea and he's okay with it. That's when it's okay for us to do it. And again, I just don't like him. I don't like him. We then see Johnny and Bao. Johnny goes to visit his friend, and Bao gets a visit from her girlfriend. His friend kind of asks how things are going. And he says that, Bao focuses a lot on the end result with them doing activities. So, of course, kind of with the painting of her just wanting it to be perfect instead of just really wanting to have fun. He says really there's no flirtation going on. And his friend really challenges him of, well, what can you do to really help progress that along? So I appreciate her for that. He says that he can initiate a little bit more romance, but he does not want to feel forced. And he's like, when things feel forced, I then tend to shut down a little bit. And I'm like, Johnny, y'all are just so dang on confusing. On the other side of town, we see Bao was telling her friend that, he doesn't initiate enough physical activity, and she's always the big spoon. And I'm like, wait a minute, Johnny. She always the big spoon? That ain't gonna fly with me either. I am always and forever the little spoon. Don't ask me to be the big spoon, because I'm gonna tell you no. We are women. We want to be the little spoon, Johnny. Get it together. But both of their friends end up giving them really good sound advice that I hope they will actually take and put into action, because talk is cheap. You got to put into words what you're going to be doing. So the episode then comes to start to wrap up, and it is all the couples sitting at dinner together. I'm going to be looking a lot at my notes because I want to make sure that I'm getting it right. So, of course, anytime the couples get together, Gil is going to be the moderator, and he is going to get it popped off with some questions, okay? And this time is no different. He asks if they're starting to fall in love with each other or just really strong like. Zach starts off and he says he is starting to fall for Michaela. He can see himself falling in love with her, and he says he will do anything for her. And I'm like, oh, so sweet. Y'all have come a long way. Michaela says that she loves him, and she says that she's told him that, and she really thinks they fit each other's personality from what they've learned thus far. As far as like them kind of being opposites, but kind of still fitting in with what they each need. Rachel says that, after the barbecue, they both told each other that they're totally in love, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe anything these two are saying, so just move along. Ryan says that he is starting to compare their relationship to the others, and it gets awkward when it gets to them. He says he cares about her. He thinks the world of her. She's a great person, but they have had ups and downs, and he's been holding back a bit, trying to be mindful of her feelings. We already know this. He's said this plenty of times, so I'm like, Ryan, what are you going to do to then do something about it, sir? We just can't keep talking about it. We going to do something about it, or we just going to leave. Figure it out. Brent says that it's been a struggle. Of course, she's been through a lot with the passing of Baxter, but she says she's still hopeful and says her heart is always open for him in hopes that that would be enough. And I'm sorry to say, I don't think it's going to be enough, because Ryan just is not feeling her. And I don't think he is getting to know her enough so that her personality outshines maybe the physical, although I think she's beautiful, but obviously she is not his type. But I think if he can get to know her, maybe her personality will shine through, and he will begin to fall for her. But I don't know if he can get past the physical part of it. Gil says that he is 100% and is falling in love with Mila, and I think it's super cute. He says that his younger self probably would not have put up with Mila, but he's grown, and because they want the same thing, it's to be easier. So I really do like the two of them together. Mila says that she has made the choice to love her husband. So I'm like, wait a minute. Does that mean you actually love him, Mila? Have we completely gone from, I don't even want to kiss you, to I'm kissing all over you and I might even love you? Okay, Mila, I see you doing the work, girl. I am here for it, okay? But she says he makes every day feel special, and I'm just like, again, super cute. But he makes her feel like the princess that, she is self-proclaimed to be, and I love it for the two of them. Bao says she is still growing in life with Johnny, and she's putting her all in. She says she cooks, she bakes, she meal prep, and as soon as she starts going in, Johnny's face immediately starts to change, and he is like, here she comes with the bullshit. I ain't gonna say it in front of these people, but here she comes. And he shows in the confessional, he's like, Bao, you've cooked one time. Cut it out. She says that she is used to being quartered, so it is out of her comfort zone to initiate more. And then Johnny is like, I think she just plays victim a lot. She likes to feel like she is doing all the changing and I'm doing nothing. And he is just getting very frustrated. Like, we can see it all over his face that he is getting really frustrated with her in the moment. And in this moment, I actually just want Bao to be quiet. I think she's sharing a little bit too much with the couples in this moment. And that's of a conversation that they should have in all their deep, dark moments that they always be having almost every other day. This is something that is needed for that. And you should have kept it maybe a little bit more lighter in mixed company per se. Just my opinion. But Johnny says that he has a lot to say, but he wants to say it to his wife first. So he basically doesn't say anything in the group. And I can respect him for that, again, because you don't want to continue to air out all your dirty laundry in front of all the other couples. He says he has to go to the bathroom. He leaves the table, and she continues to talk. And I'm just like, I want to say, Bao, just shut up. Just leave it. Like, it's awkward enough for everybody to be here while y'all are having this heavy tension. This is really not the help you need. You need the help of the experts, or just you and Johnny talking. Like, just stop oversharing. Just stop, Bao, stop. But we see that Johnny ends up going outside. And, of course, his boyfriend, Jose, comes to check in on him. And he shares, that, what Bao shared in this group setting is not her in private. Like, she's basically kind of showing up as two different people to the group. And then when her and Johnny are alone, she told the group, she cooks these gourmet meals, and they flash back to basically show her not cooking, her eating his salad, him cooking. So I'm like, Bao, they coming with the receipts, girl. They coming with the receipts. So I'm just like, this is so shady. Bao then comes outside, and they basically said that they are going to leave. And Johnny is just really annoyed because he says that he's come to the conclusion that she just wants to be seen in a positive light, and she'll just do whatever it takes for her to be shown that way, and basically for him to be shown as the quote unquote bad guy. And I hate it for the two of them. They basically leave, and they both look exhausted. Johnny is definitely exhausted as he lets her in the car and close the door. He walks around back, and he's just shaking his head like he don't know what to do going forward. And these two are just so hot and cold. I just don't even know what to think of them. They enjoy the moments that they have, but I feel like the good moments that they have are so short-lived before they are just in a deep place again with these heavy conversations. And I'm just like, I just want y'all to just take it day by day and moment by moment. Y'all are just thinking so much into it, and you've only been in this 30 days. Like, it is exhausting with these two. But let me know your guys' thoughts on this episode and how everything, turned out. How are y'all feeling about Mil? I just want to combine the couple's names today, don't I? How are y'all feeling about Gil and Mira? They are actually starting to be my favorite couple. Mira still has her moments clearly, but I see that they've actually really made the most progress and really are staying the course and consistently kind of inclining in the relationship how you would hope to see a relationship progress. So I really do like them. And at this point where I had no hope for any couples making it, they are now my only hope of a couple making it. But let me know y'all guys' thoughts in the comments below. Let's chat it up, and I'll catch y'all next week. Same time, same place. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.